This stone may look like an ordinary rock, but it's not what you think. Beneath its smooth, glass-like surface are marks that suggest something far more advanced than simple chisels and hammers. Some areas look as if they were melted by intense heat, while others show curved lines so perfect that even modern machines would struggle to copy them. Could ancient builders have known how to soften stone using sound, heat, or vibration? The idea sounds impossible, yet the evidence refuses to disappear. Mainstream experts say it was all done by hand with simple tools, but the precision tells another story. These patterns hint at a lost technique, something that once let humans command the hardest materials on Earth. Was it forgotten science, or pure determination? No one knows, but the stones still whisper a question we can't ignore. If this strange method wasn't just manual work, then history itself may be incomplete. If they really shaped stone with sound or melted it with unknown heat, then our timeline of technology is wrong. It would mean ancient people had knowledge far beyond what we credit them for, an understanding of material, resonance, and energy that modern science is only beginning to rediscover. It would mean the stories we call myths might hold fragments of truth, and that our ancestors once reached heights of innovation, now buried beneath time. If that's true, then the world's oldest monuments aren't just relics. They're messages carved in stone reminding us that we may have forgotten more than we've learned. Fire temples of Azerbaijan among the dry hills and windy plains of Azerbaijan. Flames have burned from the earth for thousands of years. These fires rise straight from the ground, needing no wood, no oil, no spark, just endless breath from the soil itself. Ancient travelers who passed through this land called it the place of eternal fire. At the heart of it stands Ateşka, the fire temple, once a sacred home to pilgrims from distant lands. Long before the rise of modern cities, its flames guided traders along the Silk Road, lighting the night sky like a living star on Earth. For centuries, people came from Persia, India, and the Caucasus, drawn by the mystery of fire that never died. They believed these flames were holy, windows to another world where God spoke through light. But what makes Ateşka truly strange is not just its age, but its mix of faiths. The stones of the temple carry inscriptions in Sanskrit, Gurmukhi, and Persian, languages belonging to different religions, yet all carved on the same walls. Some call it Zoroastrian, others say Hindu, and a few believe it's older than both. Beneath the visible structure lie deeper foundations, rougher and darker, built long before the temple we see today. Who built those first walls? Who lit the first fire? Was it a priest from ancient Persia, an Indian pilgrim, or someone from a time we no longer remember? No one knows. Every civilization that touched this place claimed it as their own, yet none could truly explain where the first flame came from. Over time, empires rose and fell, but the fire kept burning, bright, proud, and silent. To some it was divine truth, to others, a gift of the earth. Then in the last century, the eternal flame suddenly went out. Scientists said the natural gas beneath the temple had run dry. Locals whispered a different story. They said the fire died because faith had faded, that the gods turned away when people stopped believing. Years later, the flame was lit again, but now it burns with gas from a modern pipeline. The temple still glows, but those who have seen both say it's not the same. The old fire had a soul, they say. The new one only has light. Today, Ateşka stands quiet under the desert sky, its stone arches cracked, its symbols worn by time. Tourists come and take pictures, unaware that each step they take covers centuries of devotion, forgotten prayers, and questions that still burn brighter than the flames. Who lit the first fire? Was it the Persians, the Hindus, or a people even older than both? Or maybe it never belonged to anyone at all. Perhaps it was everyone's fire and no one's. Siwa Oracle Temple around 331 BCE. In the heart of Egypt's western desert, stood a place unlike any other, the Temple of the Oracle at Siwa Oasis. Far from the fertile Nile and the grand cities of the pharaohs, Siwa was a silent island of green hidden within a sea of golden sand. Travelers called it a land touched by the gods, a place where the veil between heaven and earth seemed thin. It was here that Alexander the Great came after conquering Egypt, driven by a question that haunted him. Was he a mortal king or the son of a god? The journey across the desert was perilous, filled with heat, hunger, and shifting dunes, yet Alexander pressed on. Legends say he was guided by two snakes or birds sent by divine hands. When he finally reached the temple, the priest welcomed him inside, and in the dark stone chamber a voice spoke. It was deep, echoing, and powerful. Some said it was the god Ammon himself. Others whispered it was something far more human, but no less extraordinary. The Temple of the Oracle was small compared to the great temples of Karnak or Luxor, yet its design was unlike anything else in Egypt. Built atop a rocky hill, it overlooked the oasis like a silent guardian. Inside were narrow corridors and tight chambers carved with purpose. At the center was a single sanctum known as the Oracle Chamber, where the voice of the god was said to be heard. What made it truly strange, however, was the sound itself. When someone spoke inside, their voice changed. It grew deeper, fuller, and echoed back as if more than one person was speaking at once. To ancient pilgrims, it was proof of divine presence. To modern researchers, it is an acoustic mystery. There are no hollow walls, no speaking tubes, no visible system to create such resonance. Yet the sound transforms perfectly, amplifying the voice in a way that feels almost alive. Scientists who studied the ruins were stunned. The chamber's shape and the density of its stone allow sound waves to bounce and merge, creating the illusion of multiple voices. The builders of Siwa somehow designed a structure that manipulates sound with near mathematical precision, centuries before the science of acoustics even existed. A whisper in one corner becomes a roar in another. The deeper the tone, the stronger the echo. It works only within a specific frequency range. Too high or too soft, and the effect disappears completely. That kind of accuracy suggests deliberate design, not coincidence. But how could builders over 2,500 years ago have known such principles? Was it careful experimentation, or knowledge inherited from an even older civilization? Some historians believe the priests used hidden corridors to speak unseen, projecting their voices into the chamber to create the illusion of a god's reply. Others insist it was all architectural genius, a natural amplifier built to turn the temple itself into a living instrument. The mystery deepens when we look beyond Egypt. Across the world, in places like Chavin de Huantar in Peru and ancient Mayan temples in Central America, archaeologists have found the same phenomenon, structures where sound changes in ways that seem impossible. Whispers become chants, footsteps turn into thunder, and echoes seem to breathe. None of these cultures ever met, yet their temples share the same secret language of stone and sound. Could there have been an ancient sound network, a global understanding of resonance passed down through forgotten ages? Or did distant civilizations discover the same truth, that sound itself can bridge the human and the divine? When Egypt fell under Roman rule, the voice of Siwa fell silent. The priests were gone and the temple was left to the wind. Centuries passed and the desert swallowed its secrets. Today only crumbling walls remain, glowing faintly under the setting sun. Yet those who visit still feel something strange. When the wind moves through the ruins, a low hum rises, deep and haunting, as if the oracle still whispers across time. Perhaps it was never magic or trickery. Perhaps the builders of Siwa understood something about sound, spirit, and stone that we have long forgotten. The temple may not have been just a shrine. It might have been a precision-built machine designed to make the gods speak. So the question remains, was it truly the voice of a god, or the masterpiece of ancient sound engineering? Bermuda Triangle. Crystal Pyramid in the early 1960s, deep beneath the restless waves of the Atlantic Ocean, a story began that still divides scientists and dreamers alike. It was the tale of a diver who claimed to have found something impossible, a colossal pyramid made entirely of crystal, hidden within the Bermuda Triangle. According to the diver, Dr. Ray Brown, the structure lay far below the surface near the Bahamas. While exploring a deep trench, his flashlight struck something smooth and shining. As he swam closer, he realized it was not rock, but a massive glass-like pyramid, larger than any monument on land. Its surface was flawless, untouched by coral or sand, as if shielded by an invisible energy field. Inside, he said, was a round chamber containing a glowing sphere that hovered in midair, pulsing with soft blue light. When he reached out and touched it, a shock ran through his body and his instruments began to fail. From that moment, the legend of the Crystal Pyramid was born. The Bermuda Triangle has long been known as a place of mystery, a stretch of sea between Florida, Puerto Rico, and Bermuda where ships vanish, planes disappear, and compasses spin wildly. Many believe the Crystal Pyramid is the key to these strange events. They say it generates powerful magnetic fields or releases energy beams that disturb navigation systems. Some even think it is a power source left behind by a lost civilization, perhaps Atlantis itself. Supporters of this theory point to sonar readings taken decades later that show what appear to be perfect geometric shapes beneath the ocean floor. Pyramids, domes, and smooth symmetrical ridges where no natural formations should exist. They claim the data was later classified by governments hidden from public view, because the discovery could reveal technology far beyond our own. Others believe the pyramid might not be human at all. They suggest it was built by beings from another world, placed beneath the sea as an energy station or observation base. The glowing sphere at its heart, they say, could have been a power core, a gravity device, or even a transmitter for interstellar communication. Ancient myths of crystal power, stones that stored sunlight, pyramids that channeled energy, suddenly took on new meaning. Could these old stories be distant memories of a time when humans or something else possessed unimaginable knowledge? Yet skeptics offer a simpler explanation. They argue that sonar images can easily mislead the eye. Underwater currents and sediment often shape rocks into triangular patterns. They point out that no physical evidence of a crystal pyramid has ever been recovered. No fragments, no verified photographs, nothing but witness stories. To them, the legend of the Bermuda Triangle is not proof of ancient technology but a mirror of human imagination, reflecting our endless fascination with the unknown. Science says the region's mysteries can be explained by strong magnetic fields, violent weather, and unpredictable sea currents, but even science admits that not every disappearance has an answer. So the question remains, what lies beneath the waves? A natural formation mistaken for a miracle? A relic of a lost world swallowed by the ocean? Or a silent monument built by hands not of this earth? The Crystal Pyramid may be myth, or it may be a truth too strange for us to understand. Decades later, the Bermuda Triangle still guards its secrets, and the ocean still keeps its silence. Until proof rises from the depths, one mystery continues to shimmer just beyond reach. Ancient technology, alien creation, or a myth that refuses to die. Tierra Dentro, Colombia. Hidden deep within the misty mountains of Colombia lies one of the strangest archaeological sites in South America, the underground world of Tierra Dentro. Unlike the grand temples that rise toward the sky, this ancient complex was carved beneath the earth, a secret city for the dead. From the surface, it looks like nothing more than quiet green hills, but beneath them are hundreds of chambers connected by narrow spiral staircases. Each step descends into darkness, leading to rooms carved directly into volcanic rock. These tombs, called hypogea, date back nearly 1,500 years. They were built by a civilization that vanished before history could even record its name. And yet, what they left behind shows knowledge and skill that seem far beyond their time. Archaeologists believe the builders of Tierra Dentro had only simple tools: stone, bone, and bronze. By that logic, cutting through solid volcanic tuff should have been nearly impossible. But the walls tell another story. They are smooth, curved, and flawless, shaped into perfect circles and ellipses with no sign of chisel marks or rough edges. The geometry is astonishing. Even with modern instruments, it would be difficult to carve underground spaces so symmetrical. Laser scans show that the shapes deviate by less than a single degree, an accuracy equal to that of ancient Greek temples. How could people without metal drills or measuring devices create such precision? Was it skill, intuition, or something more? The mystery deepens when we look at the art. The tomb walls are covered in red, black, and white paintings, geometric patterns, faces, spirals, and diamonds. These pigments were made from natural minerals like hematite and charcoal, yet they have survived for more than 1,000 years in a humid underground climate. Modern scientists can't fully explain why. The colors remain bright, sealed by some kind of unknown binder that resists moisture and decay. Chemical tests have found traces of an organic compound that doesn't match any known resin or oil used by pre-Columbian societies. Somehow these ancient artists knew how to make their colors last forever. Then there's the rock itself. When scientists studied the tomb walls under microscopes, they discovered something unusual: a thin layer of fused minerals, as if the stone had been briefly exposed to intense heat or pressure. This microfusion made the surface harder and more water-resistant, preventing erosion for centuries. But how could a civilization with no furnaces or fireproof equipment generate such heat underground? Some suggest it happened naturally during carving. Others think it was intentional, perhaps a lost method of heat treatment used to strengthen the rock after carving. Whatever the truth, the technique has never been replicated. Equally strange is the lack of evolution in their work. Most ancient cultures show a learning curve. Early attempts, mistakes, then gradual improvement. But at Tierra Dentro, there is no such pattern. The tombs appear perfect from the start. The builders seem to already know exactly what to do. Then just as suddenly, the knowledge disappeared. The civilization that created these monuments vanished without leaving behind any tools, writings, or explanations. Later generations built simpler structures as if the skill had been erased from memory. It was as though the people of Tierra Dentro appeared, achieved mastery, and then vanished into the mountains, taking their secrets with them. Some experts believe their precision came from generations of patient work and deep understanding of local geology. They argue that the builders learned how to read the stone, how to carve it without cracking it through careful observation. Others think the knowledge was inherited from an earlier forgotten culture or shared through ancient contact across continents. Could this have been part of a wider network of advanced stoneworkers who knew techniques now lost to history? Or were the people of Tierra Dentro simply gifted artisans whose skills died with them? Even today, the tombs of Tierra Dentro remain quiet and untouched, their smooth walls glowing faintly under the flicker of torchlight. No one knows how they were made or why their creators disappeared. Each chamber feels like a message left in stone, a sign of intelligence that does not fit into the timelines we know. So we are left with one question, whispered through the hollow tunnels of the Andes. Was Tierra Dentro the result of trial and error, or knowledge inherited from a forgotten age? Konark Sun. Temple on the eastern coast of India, where the first light of dawn touches the sea, stands a monument that has baffled and amazed scholars for centuries, the Konark Sun Temple. Built in the 13th century by King Narasimhadeva I of the Eastern Ganga dynasty, it was dedicated to Surya, the sun god. But the more one studies this temple, the less it looks like a place of worship, and the more it resembles a celestial machine carved in stone. Rising from the shores of Odisha, the temple was designed as a colossal chariot drawn by 7 stone horses, symbolizing the sun's journey across the sky. On its sides are 24 massive stone wheels, each nearly 3 meters high, carved with perfect symmetry and mathematical precision. These are not just decorations. Each wheel functions as a sundial capable of measuring time with incredible accuracy, even down to the minute. How did medieval builders without telescopes or modern instruments achieve such perfection? At sunrise, the first light once passed through the temple's main entrance and illuminated the inner sanctum, where the idol of Surya stood, bathing it in golden light. This alignment worked precisely during the equinoxes when day and night are equal. Such precision could not have been an accident. The builders clearly understood the movement of the earth, the tilt of its axis, and the position of the sun throughout the year. The entire structure seems to have been built as a giant observatory in the form of a temple. But the mysteries do not end with astronomy. The play of light and shadow across the temple's walls creates changing geometric patterns that resemble moving symbols. Some researchers believe these patterns encode astronomical data or cosmic cycles, turning the temple into a living calendar that recorded the rhythm of the heavens. Beneath its beauty lies another enigma. The stones used to build Konark are not just ordinary granite. Many contain traces of iron and magnetite, minerals with strong magnetic properties. Local legends speak of a massive lodestone once placed at the temple's summit. They say it created a magnetic field so powerful that it could make the main idol, cast from solid iron, levitate in midair. Sailors in the ancient Bay of Bengal reportedly claimed their ship compasses malfunctioned when they passed near the temple. While science has never confirmed these stories, traces of magnetized stone still exist, and the alignment of certain chambers suggests an intentional design for energy flow. Could the builders of Konark have been experimenting with magnetism and resonance, concepts we now associate with modern physics? There are also deeper mysteries buried beneath the surface. Ground-penetrating radar studies have revealed the presence of older foundations and chambers below the visible temple. These underground structures do not match the style or scale of the 13th century construction. Some archaeologists believe the Sun Temple may have been built atop an earlier, much older site, possibly a forgotten temple or an ancient scientific complex aligned to the same solar path. If that is true, then Konark might represent the continuation of knowledge passed down from an unknown age, refined and rebuilt over generations until it reached perfection. Conventional historians explain these wonders as the result of advanced medieval craftsmanship and astronomical skill. The builders of Konark, they say, combined art, devotion, and science in ways unmatched anywhere else in the world. Yet others believe there is more to it than that. The temple's magnetic properties, light alignments, and geometric perfection hint at something deeper, a deliberate attempt to harness the energy of the sun itself. Could Konark have been more than a shrine? Could it have been a solar resonator designed to channel and amplify the sun's power through stone, metal, and geometry? Even in ruins, the Konark Sun Temple still seems alive. Its wheels continue to measure time, and its carvings glow golden under the morning light. To stand before it is to feel that the stones themselves hum with ancient purpose. Perhaps it was not only a temple to worship the sun, but a machine built to understand it. A bridge between science and spirituality, between earth and sky. So the question remains, was Konark truly a sacred shrine, or an engineered solar instrument created by minds far ahead of their time? Unfinished obelisk. Aswan, in the heart of Egypt's ancient granite quarries near the city of Aswan, lies one of the most fascinating and mysterious monuments ever discovered, the unfinished obelisk. Half buried in stone, it remains exactly as the workers left it more than 3,000 years ago, frozen in time. Unlike other monuments that were completed and raised to the sky, this one was never finished. It still lies attached to the bedrock, revealing every stage of its creation. Archaeologists call it a snapshot of ancient engineering, showing us how the Egyptians tried to carve a single, massive block of granite directly from the earth. But what it reveals raises more questions than answers. The obelisk would have been the largest ever made, over 40 meters long and weighing around 1,200 tons, more than double the weight of any that stand today. According to conventional history, Egyptian workers used stone hammers, copper tools, and wooden wedges to slowly chip away the granite. They carved narrow trenches around it, then filled them with dry wood. When soaked with water, the wood expanded, splitting the stone from below. With enough effort, the entire obelisk could supposedly be lifted free, polished, and transported to the Nile. It's a clever idea, but the numbers don't add up. The pressure of expanding wood is far too weak to move a stone this massive. Even with thousands of workers, it would have been nearly impossible. So how did they plan to lift and move a block heavier than 10 Boeing 747s? The real mystery lies in the surface of the stone itself. In some places, the granite is glassy and smooth, almost as if it melted. In others, the rock shows curved grooves and hollow marks that resemble the path of a massive rotating tool. Modern laser scans show that the trenches around the obelisk maintain a constant depth and perfect curvature along their entire length, precision that even modern cutting machines struggle to match. There are no random tool marks, no signs of uneven chiseling. It's as if the stone was shaped by a vibration or energy that carved through it evenly, layer by layer. Some researchers have pointed out patterns that look like ultrasonic or resonance effects, similar to what high-frequency tools create today. Could the builders of ancient Egypt have used sound, heat, or vibration to shape granite? Then something went wrong. A huge crack appeared across the center of the obelisk, rendering it useless. The project was abandoned instantly. Tools were dropped, trenches left incomplete, and no attempt was made to salvage smaller pieces. It was as if the entire workforce vanished overnight. Some Egyptologists believe the crack was caused by natural stress in the rock, or perhaps by the expansion of heat during the cutting process. Others suggest that the builders might have been testing a new method, one that involved intense energy or heat, and the experiment failed. The vitrified patches, the flawless cuts, and the sudden break all seem to hint at something more than simple stonework. Even if the obelisk had been freed, another mystery remains. How could they have moved it? The quarry sits far from the Nile, surrounded by uneven terrain. The largest obelisks ever transported in Egypt weighed less than half as much, and even those required vast ramps, ships, and manpower. For the unfinished obelisk, no practical method seems to exist. Modern engineers have tried to simulate it with computers, but every model collapses under its own weight. Was there a forgotten technique? Something that allowed ancient builders to move colossal stones as if they were light? Today, the unfinished obelisk lies silent under the desert sun, a monument to ambition and mystery. It is both a masterpiece and a failure, revealing a civilization that dared to attempt the impossible. Was it merely an engineering mistake that ended in disaster, or the remnant of an ancient experiment with forces we no longer understand? The stone spheres of Costa Rica hidden, Deep within the lush jungles and quiet river valleys of Costa Rica lies one of the strangest archaeological mysteries on Earth, the giant stone spheres of the Diquís Delta. Hundreds of them, scattered across forests, fields, and ancient settlements, sit silently as if guarding a forgotten secret. Some are as small as a grapefruit, while others reach over 2 meters in diameter and weigh more than 16 tons. They rest on hilltops, align with rivers, and even mark the paths of ancient villages long vanished beneath the soil. To the eye, they appear almost perfect, smooth, round, and balanced as if shaped by machines rather than human hands. But they were carved long before the arrival of metal tools, measuring instruments, or even written mathematics. How then did the people of ancient Costa Rica achieve such perfection? When archaeologists first stumbled upon these mysterious stones in the 1930s, they were not found in temples or tombs, but in the middle of banana plantations. Workers clearing land for the United Fruit Company struck several giant spheres buried in the ground. At first, many thought they were natural formations shaped by centuries of erosion. But as more were uncovered, the truth became clear. These were not the work of nature. They had been carved, polished, and placed with intent. Since then, over 300 spheres have been discovered, some weighing as much as an elephant, each one carved from solid granite, gabbro, or limestone. What stunned researchers most was their accuracy. Laser measurements show that many of the spheres are perfect to within 1% of a true sphere, a level of precision that even modern sculptors struggle to achieve by hand. The mystery deepens when we consider the tools available at the time. The indigenous people who made these stones lived between 500 BCE and 1500 CE, an era when metallurgy was unknown in Central America. They had no steel, no iron chisels, no advanced lathes or measuring instruments. Yet somehow they shaped some of the hardest stones on Earth into flawless spheres. The question is how. Some suggest they used small hammerstones to chip away at the surface, slowly grinding it smooth with sand and clay. But even with patience, the symmetry of the spheres is extraordinary. To carve one by eye alone, keeping every curve equal and every angle consistent, would require either an incredible intuitive sense of geometry or a method we do not yet understand. When tested under modern equipment, the stones show no clear chisel marks or grooves that could explain the process. Their surfaces are too even, their edges too soft. Some researchers believe heat may have been used to fracture the stone evenly, while others propose that the ancient builders had some form of measuring framework, a wooden or rope grid perhaps, to guide their shaping. But no such tools have ever been found. All that remains are the spheres themselves, sitting silently in fields where their makers once lived. As with many ancient mysteries, theories soon multiplied. Some archaeologists think the spheres were symbols of status or power, placed near the homes of chiefs to display authority. Others see them as markers of territory, or representations of the sun and moon, reflecting the spiritual beliefs of the people who worship nature's cycles. But what makes the mystery more fascinating is their arrangement. Many spheres were found in straight lines, triangles, or circular groups that appear to point toward astronomical events. Some align with the sunrise during the solstice or with constellations visible only at certain times of year. Could these spheres have served as a kind of ancient observatory, helping their creators track time, seasons, and the movement of the stars? Another theory suggests they may have been navigational markers, used to guide travelers through the dense forests or along river routes. The Diquís Delta was once a thriving trade center, connecting the Pacific coast with inland settlements. The spheres, some placed along old pathways, could have acted like milestones or waypoints, showing routes of passage across the land. But again, no one can say for sure. There are no written records, no carvings explaining their use, and the people who made them vanished long before the arrival of Europeans. Their culture faded into the jungle, leaving behind only these perfect stones as evidence of their presence. Perhaps the most mysterious detail is what happened to the spheres after they were discovered. In the early 20th century, many were damaged or destroyed as workers tried to open them, hoping to find gold or treasures inside. Some were rolled away, split in half, or used as decorations in front of homes and government buildings. Others were taken to museums around the world, separated from their original sites. Today, archaeologists work to restore and protect them, recognizing that their placement may hold the key to understanding their true purpose. When mapped together, the positions of the spheres reveal patterns too deliberate to be random, geometric, layouts that suggest knowledge of mathematics, far ahead of their time. Scientists from the University of Costa Rica conducted precise measurements and found that several spheres form alignments based on cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west, matching astronomical points on the horizon. Some are arranged by size, descending gradually as if to represent something symbolic, like the passage of time or the movement of celestial bodies. The builders seem to have understood both symmetry and orientation in a way that required careful planning, not guesswork. Yet they left no diagrams, no ruins of observatories, no tools, only the spheres themselves. There are even legends among local people that speak of gods who came from the stars, rolling these stones from the heavens as gifts. Others say the spheres contain spiritual energy and must never be moved. These myths may not hold scientific proof, but they reveal how deeply the stones have captured human imagination. Even today, some of the surviving spheres are said to bring luck or protection, as if they still hold the essence of their makers' beliefs. For archaeologists, the challenge lies in bridging the gap between science and mystery. Were these spheres simply artistic expressions of power and beauty, or did they serve a more technical purpose, perhaps something we no longer recognize? The craftsmanship suggests an understanding of geometry and material science that should not have existed in that era. Their precision rivals modern engineering, yet they were made by people who, according to our textbooks, should not have been capable of such feats. It raises an uncomfortable question: how much of ancient knowledge have we truly lost? Some researchers believe the answer may lie in intuition and patience. Perhaps the builders, through generations of observation, developed a natural sense of proportion. By comparing the sphere's shadow and sunlight, they could slowly correct imperfections. Over years of trial and refinement, they may have achieved perfection through persistence rather than machines. If true, it would show that the human mind, even without advanced tools, can reach astonishing levels of accuracy. But for others, the perfection remains too precise, too clean, and too consistent across so many examples to be explained by simple methods. Today, the stone spheres of Costa Rica are protected as UNESCO World Heritage Monuments, yet they still guard their secret. They sit quietly among banana trees and riverbanks, surviving earthquakes, rain, and time itself. Scientists continue to study them, scanning for tool marks, measuring alignments, and comparing their forms. But the answer always slips away, as smooth and elusive as the stones themselves. Were they the work of a forgotten civilization that mastered geometry before history began, or simply the result of patience and devotion so deep that it reached mathematical perfection without formulas? No matter how many theories we create, the truth remains hidden beneath centuries of silence. These spheres, untouched and unbroken, stand as proof that beauty and precision are older than we think. They remind us that our ancestors, though we call them primitive, may have understood the world in ways we can no longer imagine. So what were the stone spheres of Costa Rica? Random art, spiritual symbols, or evidence of ancient science? Perhaps they were all three, united in one perfect form. Whatever their purpose, they continue to challenge our sense of what is possible. And maybe that is their greatest achievement, to keep us wondering even now whether the true measure of civilization lies not in our technology, but in our ability to shape perfection with nothing but human hands. The Baalbek Trilithon, stones that shouldn't move high. In the mountains of Lebanon lies one of the greatest puzzles of ancient engineering, the Baalbek Trilithon. In the quiet city of Baalbek stands the Temple of Jupiter, built on a foundation unlike any other in the world. Hidden beneath its ruined columns are three colossal stones, each weighing over 1,000 tons, fitted so perfectly together that even a sheet of paper cannot slip between them. These are not just large blocks of stone. They are among the heaviest ever used in human construction. And yet, thousands of years ago, someone managed to lift them, move them, and set them into place with precision so perfect it rivals modern laser cutting. To this day, no one can explain exactly how. The site of Baalbek has been a place of worship for millennia, long before the Romans built their great temple complex there. Archaeologists believe it began as a Phoenician or Canaanite sanctuary, dedicated to Baal, the god of the sky. When the Romans arrived, they expanded the site into one of the grandest temples in their empire. They brought columns taller than any ever built in Rome and laid the Trilithon, three massive blocks forming the upper platform of the foundation. Each stone measures about 20 meters long and 4 meters high, with a weight that modern cranes would struggle to move. Even the most advanced machines of today can lift only a few hundred tons at a time. And yet these stones were placed flawlessly, thousands of years ago without the help of steel, hydraulics, or modern tools. The precision is staggering. The stones are cut with straight, sharp edges and aligned in a way that suggests careful measurement down to millimeters. There are no gaps, no uneven angles, no signs of shifting over centuries. They have remained perfectly in place despite countless earthquakes that have shaken the region. How could ancient builders achieve such stability with technology supposedly limited to ropes, pulleys, and manpower? The official explanation credits Roman engineers with genius and determination. They might have used wooden cranes, ramps, and rolling logs to move the blocks from a nearby quarry. But when engineers today try to replicate the same feat, every method fails. The sheer size of the stones makes them impossible to lift or transport without breaking. The mystery deepens when we visit the quarry itself, just a short distance from the temple. There lies an even larger block known as the Stone of the Pregnant Woman. It weighs an estimated 200 tons and remains partly buried in the earth, as if the builders started to move it, but then abandoned the task. Recent discoveries near it have revealed another block even larger, perhaps the biggest ever cut by human hands, weighing close to 1,600 tons. Why would anyone attempt to move something so massive? And if they could move the smaller ones, why leave these behind? The answers are lost to time. Some historians argue that the Romans inherited the site from a far older civilization, one whose engineering skills have long since been forgotten. They point out that the trilithon blocks rest beneath the Roman construction, suggesting that they may have been part of an earlier platform that predates the temple itself. If true, then the mystery stretches far beyond Roman genius. It points to an age when humans, or perhaps someone else, possessed knowledge of material handling and stress distribution that even modern science struggles to match. Engineers who have studied the site note that, to place the trilithon stones precisely, the builders would have needed to lift them several meters and fit them tightly against one another. Even if ramps were used, the amount of friction and pressure involved would have made it nearly impossible. The corners of the blocks show no signs of chipping or damage, meaning they were placed gently, not dropped or forced. This level of control implies a system capable of distributing weight evenly, something far beyond ropes and levers. Some researchers have speculated about lost mechanical devices, counterweight systems, or even vibration-based lifting methods that could have reduced the stone's effective weight. Others, more speculative still, suggest the possibility of anti-gravity technology, an idea dismissed by mainstream scholars but fascinating nonetheless. Ancient myths add fuel to the mystery. The people of the region once believed Baalbek was built by giants, the Nephilim of old who possessed supernatural strength. In later centuries, Arabic legends claimed that King Solomon used jinn, spirits of fire and air, to move the massive stones into place. While these stories belong to the realm of mythology, they reveal how even ancient people viewed Baalbek as something beyond ordinary human ability. The sheer scale of the stones inspired awe, fear, and reverence across cultures and eras. Modern studies have focused on the site's architecture, trying to uncover its hidden logic. The trilithon stones are not just heavy, they are balanced perfectly within the structure. The blocks below them are smaller, but aligned in such a way that they distribute the weight evenly across the foundation. This suggests that whoever built Baalbek understood advanced principles of stress management and load-bearing, long before such ideas were recorded in engineering history. It's as if the builders knew exactly how much pressure each stone could take, and placed them accordingly to ensure eternal stability. Thousands of years later, their design still stands untouched by time. Yet questions remain. Why build with stones so massive when smaller blocks would have been easier to handle? Was it to show divine power, to impress future generations, or to test the limits of their technology? Or was there another reason, something we can no longer grasp? Some scientists believe the sheer size gave the structure seismic stability, allowing it to survive earthquakes. Others think the platform was originally built for an entirely different purpose, later reused by the Romans. But without written records, everything remains speculation. When one stands before the trilithon, it feels less like architecture and more like a statement carved into the earth itself, a challenge from the past to the present. These stones should not be where they are. Their weight defies logic, their placement mocks gravity, and their precision humbles modern tools. Whether they were built by Roman ingenuity, guided by forgotten technology, or created by hands we no longer understand, They remain one of humanity's greatest unsolved feats. In the end, the Baalbek Trilothon forces us to question how much ancient civilizations truly knew about physics, weight, and force. Were these stones moved by brute strength and endless labor, or by a mastery of mechanics that has vanished with time? The answer, like the stones themselves, stands silent but unshakable. Perhaps the true secret of Baalbek is not in how the stones were moved, but in why they were placed at all. Were they the foundation of a temple, or the foundation of knowledge long forgotten? Brute strength or lost mechanical mastery? The mystery endures. Across deserts, mountains, jungles, and seas, one truth seems to echo through time. Humanity once built with knowledge we no longer understand. From the silent quarry of Aswan to the shining wheels of Konark, from the underground chambers of Tierra Dentro to the mysterious flames of Azerbaijan, each monument tells a story that defies explanation. The ancient world was not primitive. It was precise. Its builders understood stone, light, sound, and magnetism in ways that seem impossible for their age. They shaped granite as if it were clay, aligned temples to the movement of the sun, painted symbols that never faded, and carved chambers that could make voices rise like thunder. These were not accidents of faith or superstition. They were acts of deliberate design, guided by rules of geometry, resonance, and energy that modern science is only beginning to rediscover. Perhaps what we call ruins are not the remains of lost civilizations, but the data of forgotten engineers, records written not in books but in stone. Every line, every echo, every perfect angle may be a code from the past waiting to be read. The ancients left no blueprints, yet their monuments endure while modern structures crumble in decades. Their silence speaks louder than words, reminding us that knowledge does not always vanish. It hides. Maybe their secrets were buried not by time, but by forgetfulness. Their discoveries locked inside myths we dismissed as stories. So what does it mean when stone tells a story that history cannot explain? Were these wonders the result of human will, stretched to its highest limits, or fragments of a science that once bridged the gap between earth and sky? The answer may lie somewhere between the two, where faith met physics and where hands shaped matter in harmony with nature itself. As we look upon the monuments that still stand against wind, fire, and centuries, one question remains. Were they born of human determination, or are they the last surviving traces of a forgotten science? Share your thoughts below, and tell us which mystery you want to uncover next. The past may be silent, but its echoes are still calling.